Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Encounter, the show where we bring you testimonies of young people from all across the world. One thing that you're probably noticing is it's just myself. Cian is not here. He is in Canada, and he will be in Canada for the next couple of weeks. So it's just myself, but I have two very special guests on with me today. Two of my very good friends. Only met them last week, but two amazing lads. They were at World Youth Day with me, and they are going to be coming on to share a little bit about their testimony and about their experience at World Youth Day. So it is my absolute pleasure to welcome on Mark and Eoin Gormley.
And it wasn't just the amount of sleep you'd get at night, it was just that there was no prospect of a sleep in, or like it was just go. The minute you were sent out of the accommodation, you weren't back until at least 12 hours later.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But
we were locked out. Like, we were locked out of our
yeah, we were kicked out and locked out. Yeah. God, yeah, obviously all worth it. But I mean, there were some mornings where you're just facing into a, like, half an hour wake up, and you walk into the shower and the shower is freezing cold, and that doesn't help. But yeah.
100%.
But
we will get back to World Youth Day in a while.
Absolutely.
But before that, for our listeners who don't know a lot about you, would you guys be able to give, because obviously you guys are brothers.
Yes.
I didn't know the story. I was shocked. I was like, Eoin Mark brothers.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. But yeah, if you could give maybe a bit of background on basically who you are, what you do.
Sure.
Yeah.
So my name's Eoin. I'm just graduated from Trinity College. Currently work in law, in the court service in research, and 23 years old. Mark?
Yeah. My name's Mark. I'm 21 years old. I'm currently studying business in DCU, and I'm just off a placement at KPMG, and I'm looking forward to my final year college.
Wow, incredible. Wow. And could you give us maybe a bit more background on your upbringing and how you sort of grew up in your family? Was the faith something that was that something that you grew up in? Was it something that you were introduced to externally? Was it?
Yeah, I suppose we grew up with the faith, and were introduced to the faith by parents, grandparents, and also our school environment as well. So I think the faith has always been a very big part of our lives. All of our lives. We have two other brothers as well, and so big household. And I think we really value it, have valued it, and do value it currently, as just a major aspect of our lives, right from when we were baptized. And I suppose did altar serving and would attend mass weekly, and also kind of family prayer as well. So it was very, very faith-filled household. Fair to say,
for sure.
Okay, wow. Was there maybe a moment that it kind of clicked for you, or kind of changed for you both? Was there a moment where you realized, okay, yeah, I've grown up in my faith, I'm going to mass every week, but was there a moment where you decided to, okay, I'm actually going to start living my faith out?
Yeah, it can be kind of not tough growing up in a household like with faith, but you have to realize, am I just following this because it's my upbringing, or am I following this because I believe in it? And and this is what I believe in. I find like sometimes it can take some time to find your feet with that, and something like World Youth Day has really helped me with that. But I'd say around TY is kind of where I started taking it a lot more seriously. I started kind of listening to the word, because it's very easy to go to mass and just kind of sit there, listen to it, but not actually take it in. Mm-hmm. That's when I started trying to concentrate, try to bring that word true in my life. And I'd say it's similar enough for you, honest.
Yeah. I'd say maybe going into college is a kind of sort of inflection point, really. not just in terms of faith, but in a lot of aspects of your life. And because a lot of times we didn't, but you may move out of the house, or you start hanging around with different people, and obviously you're not in the same maybe the same bubble, or you're meeting the same people. So you have to decide, okay, what do I really believe in? What do I value? What am I going to spend my free time doing? So I think, I suppose it was made a more, as you said, maybe a concrete decision or a turning point, maybe throughout first year in college, to really live out my faith on a more personal level. Not that I wasn't, not that I wasn't doing so before, but I suppose it became all the more concrete and conscious once I made that transition. All right,
yeah. And what was that college experience like for you as a whole? Like, were you someone that was like, did you find it easy to be kind of open about your faith? Did you experience any like hostility, or?
I would say definitely. I think it was easy for me, and in ways it was easy for me. Because maybe it was easy for me because I wasn't very vocal about it. Maybe that's what made it easy. But I do have to say, like, a lot of the good friends I made in college would really respect kind of my faith, and I think value my opinion as a person of faith, and because it not being maybe as common. But it's amazing the like-minded people you run into, and people who value your experiences and your point of view on things. And there's many outlets in college where I was able to kind of express my faith. And also I really enjoyed kind of maybe going to mass in the different churches around town, Trinity College being so central, so you could use the church in Trinity College, and then the Carmelite church across the road. And
did you have go-to church?
Carmelite church.
Okay,
yeah. St. Teresa's on Coffin Street.
Nice.
Because I always found it such a diverse church. Lots of tourists would go there as well, and working people, and especially for some of the feast days, kind of lunchtime masses. And yeah, so it's kind of just, again, stepping out of your own maybe parish bubble. Not to say anything was wrong with my parish bubble, not to say that, but to just kind of broaden your experience with it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. What about yourself, Mike? Was it a similar experience? Or?
Like I probably,
you were in DCU, so completely different college.
DCU, and at the start, because like the reality of it in our day and age, there aren't many young people that will have the same values, and I found you really have to go and seek it out. But once you do seek it out, it is there. So maybe at the start I didn't seek it out maybe as I should have. Okay. But now I've learned, like, especially doing True World Youth Day, I know you've introduced me to a load of brilliant people in DCU, and that there is this societies out there. But it is just about reaching out and finding those people, because they are out there. You just have to find them, and there's loads of community and support there. Yeah.
And in terms of the people that aren't sort of into their faith, and the people you have to interact with on a daily basis in college, what was your approach to like living out your faith with those people? Like, were you guys kind of diplomatic with it, or were you just ridiculously like open about your faith?
Yeah, I'd say I'd be quite diplomatic, because you'd be fearful of kind of the response or the judgment that you get. And maybe reflecting on it now, I probably should have been more open to it, but I feel like diplomatic, I'm very kind of stay away from any kind of argument or debate, and just stay quite reserved like that. But I don't know. I think I don't think I would have approached it any differently doing it again, because I think I'd like to see people see my faith through the lens of how I act, how I treat people, the things I value in my life, and kind of see my personality through that lens of kind of through a Christian Catholic lens.
Right. Okay.
And I suppose rather than approaching people and coming at it people might think I'm coming at it from a lens of always trying to convert me or whatever, whereas if I think for me personally what can be more powerful is maybe showing a good example and saying, God, has he picked this up through his faith, through his beliefs. So I think, yes, definitely diplomatic, but I'd like to think I showed my faith in other, maybe more subtle ways to others I encountered.
Okay, wow, yeah. And you guys, you obviously mentioned like you've started Word Youth Day's been great for you to like get yourself introduced to all these new groups that exist around Dublin. But you guys were really involved in your parish growing up. You guys said you altar served, and was there anything else that maybe stood out that you guys did growing up in your parish?
Not particularly. I suppose youth involvement in the parish, like with many parishes across not only the diocese but the country, is there's quite a low uptake on it. So it's probably something we're trying to do more. Post World Youth Day, I suppose.
Yeah, it's definitely inspired me. Like speak to some people that like, you know, have got involved in you know, minister of the Eucharist, minister of the Word. Like I definitely like look to take up something like that, because it is good to have the youth involvement in something like that. It's very important in the church, and even that other people see, okay, look, there's people getting involved here. You know, it's
okay
to build a bit of momentum.
And what's your parish again?
It's St. Mary's in Lucan. And Esker as well.
Okay, that was the one with like where all the people were, like the choir. Is that the one?
As part of the kind of the restructuring of parishes, there's kind of the joint. There's the joint
like
parishes of Lucan. So there's different parishes coming together, which has been very good for it, because you can kind of pull from different catchments in the greater Lucan area. So yeah, it's been great.
You guys are part of the choir.
No, we're not part of the choir. I do love hearing the choir on Sunday. They bring like great life to it now. But no, we're not part of it ourselves. But there's a great group behind it. Which is brilliant.
Great. Cool. Well, I think this is a good moment to start to talk about last week.
Bit of a debrief.
Bit of a debrief on what. On the chaos. With a mixture of a lot of good things as well. Oh, yeah. But a lot of chaos. A lot of chaos. Last week. So, obviously, World Youth Day was on last week. Started on Tuesday, finished on Sunday with the final mass.
It's a long day, you know, World Youth Day.
So, what I suppose, take it back a step. How did you guys actually, like, sign up for World Youth Day? Where did you guys go out? Like, did you guys want to go to Word Youth Day and you found the diocese and you were like, okay, the diocese is going, we're going to go along with them? Or like, did someone come and find you? And
I think for me anyway, it's something that I was told about years ago, actually, volunteering at the World Meeting of Families. I met someone who said to me, Owen, if you ever get a chance, get yourself to World Youth Day. I think you'd really like it. And then it was kind of in the back of my mind, and then kind of years come and go, COVID comes and goes, and then the year of World Youth Day comes around, and people are kind of reminding me of it, and I think I just out of disorganization, I said, there'll be a group going, I'm sure I'll find somewhere, and then it's getting closer and closer to the time, and I still have no group or no means of getting there, but I have the week kind of penciled in as like, I'm going to World Youth Day, don't know how, don't know with who. And then 2 spots became available with the diocese, and
we arose and went to haste.
Yes. So yeah, that was me, myself and Mark. They were our tickets to Lisbon.
Unreal. I'll be honest, I didn't have the same dream as Owen. It just came up and I was a bit of a tag along. But
so Mary arose and went with haste was the sort of theme for the whole of World Youth Day. Great, so that's how you got into. You were just through Owen, and okay, amazing.
Yeah, to be honest, that was it. But like I heard the opportunity, I thought it was something brilliant, just to kind of strengthen your faith, meet new people, kind of like-minded people. I leapt at the opportunity,
because there was like, you guys didn't just go straight to World Youth Day. There was like a series of like meetups as well,
which were really valuable. Just meeting up with the group and getting to know everyone before you left. So it was really good.
And it consisted our leader Natalie, who led our group, it consisted of her telling us every week, bring sun cream, bring this, bring that, bring the other. But no, it was great time for reflection and different things in those groups, and again, great way to kind of meet a lot of like-minded young people.
Like-minded, but also I think even though we were all from Dublin, a very diverse group of people, like a
Extraordinarily
ridiculously diverse group.
Sure.
Like we had shout out to Angeline.
Yeah. Yeah. Big
She's
shout out.
watching. But Angeline was a girl from France, and she just wanted to go with a different group. And so she tagged along with Dublin, which I thought, like,
just cold email devices has no connection with Dublin, with Ireland, and just wanted another perspective, which God, I can really
it's
respect,
incredible.
yeah.
And she was amazing. She was such a good addition to the
really
group.
valuable addition.
I have to say, like, everyone came with such a positive and open mindset, which just really added to it, which is great.
100%. Cool. And so in terms of the week, how was it for you guys? So let's take it like one day at a
Day
time.
by day.
Yeah, they all blend, but we'll try and give a bit of a flavour of what went.
I'd say that the first day was a bit of a shock because, you know, you realise, okay, you're not in Lisbon on a holiday, you're here on a pilgrimage, you know, and our accommodation...
Reoccurring theme.
But our accommodation...
I think that was our comfort sentence, lads. We're on a pilgrimage. It's meant to be like this.
We were sleeping in the hall of a school. Which was good. It definitely hurt the back on the first day, but got used to it anyway. And there was a good few talks. I felt, especially in the first 1 or 2 days, there was a good few talks to go to, which was brilliant. One of my highlights, I went to like an interfaith dialogue talk, which is great because you got to speak to people of different religions, and like you found there was actually a lot of common ground between a lot of the different religions, and you know some of our concerns would be, you know, the same as those of other religions, and it was just really nice getting that perspective. And I feel like it's something that you'd only get at an event like that, you know. It was brilliant. That was one of my highlights of the first few days for sure.
The talks it was
brilliant. I
mean, the talks I didn't get to any of them myself.
Oh,
they were ridiculously hard to get in. People were waiting. I know you were waiting in line for like an hour and a half, and then you didn't get in.
Who was it? It was
was it Finn?
Matt West, Christopher West. That's it.
Oh right.
I tried to get to his talk, so we got there maybe an hour early, thinking we're a bit early, we might get lunch or something. But then we saw the queue, and the queue was about 3,000 people long when we got there an hour early. So we queued up. We were like, okay, like we're here now, we might as well queue up. There's a chance we'll get in. They let 2,000 people in, so we were maybe in that 1,000 that weren't let in. But by the end, there was easily about 8,000 or 9,000 people there, and that's when we were like, right, if you want to get to a talk, you have to be there.
It was
early. And then there was another talk I tried to go to, and then you needed a ticket for that, and that wasn't really advertised that you needed a ticket, so it was crazy trying to get to some of the talks. But yeah, I found even more than the talks, it's actually some of the conversations along the way that were even more helpful than some of the talks themselves. So like there was so many learning points, which is just brilliant.
So then I think after day one it was a bit quieter. I think less groups had arrived, so that's maybe why you got to more things. And then I think day two was around the time where we started catechesis in the local parish. So we were staying in a place called Canasiash, and basically our kind of timetable was like up in the morning, kind of 9 o'clock, or leave kicked out of the accommodation. No, I'm joking. And then we'd have catechesis in the parish with a lot of other kind of English speaking groups, so Singaporeans, people from Australia, Canada as well. And then there would be a bishop, so one group would take the catechesis, and then a bishop would give kind of further discussion on the various kind of talking points for that particular day, and then there would be mass. And then after that you were quite free to do whatever you wanted. So that was kind of the pattern for the first few days until Pope Francis came, when we'd start kind of attending the various services and masses that we'd have with him. And
what were those services like? What the big ones? At the night. So pretty much every evening, I think, apart from the Wednesday, there was a big gathering in the park. It was called Parque Eduardo, and essentially all 2 million pilgrims gathered in the park. Either, I think it was the opening ceremony, the opening mass.
Was it an?
It was opening mass. Opening mass on the Tuesday, and then the Wednesday there was nothing because there was something else. We'll get to that.
Yes.
The Thursday was the opening ceremony with Pope Francis.
With Pope Francis. So yes, the opening mass, I remember now, was with the bishop.
The bishop.
But it wasn't
Right.
That's when I got
Pope
terribly
Francis.
sunburned.
Oh yeah.
But I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson from there.
Yeah. I think that the first one was ridiculously tough for a lot of people, because you're going from, Dublin's busy enough, but like I don't think there's anywhere in the world that matches to like what we experienced that evening. Like it's ridiculous, and you see it all on the news and you see it all on videos. It doesn't do it any justice whatsoever. What was it like for you guys, the big sort of gatherings?
It's very uplifting. Like it was a lot of people, you know, in good spirits. What I couldn't get over was the amount of people that were there, mixed with the, I wouldn't even say the lack of security, but I would say even like the lack of a need for security, because everyone was there for the same purpose. It was most of the time quite, even though it was very busy, it was quite calm. There was no fear of people getting into fights, and it was just this very organized chaos, like like a big school of fish moving together or something, these scores of people with their flags from every country, a lot of countries anyway, represented. Granted, mostly European, but
only one wasn't represented. I think Maldives. The Maldives was the only one that wasn't represented.
It wasn't represented.
So every other country was there.
Yeah, it's I'd say the word was uplifting. I don't know.
And it was actually very cool. You talked about the kind of calmness and like bring people together. Even that first mass, the opening ceremony, I saw like a Russian and a Ukrainian flag, like maybe 3 or 4 meters apart from each other, which is just very cool. And it just kind of showed, this is everyone coming together for the greater purpose.
Sure.
100%. Yeah. I thought it was just incorrect. It's funny because like I remember the one time where we were trying to get to like the middle. We were trying to find someone. I think me and you. It was like me, you, and someone.
Yes, that was.
And we were trying to find someone, and we walked through a whole like crowd of people. Yeah. Found out that we couldn't actually get in. Yeah. So we'd spent like about maybe 30 minutes walking down that road. Yeah. Find out that we can't get through, so we had to walk all the way
to double back on ourselves.
And then, but I think once we got to it, we got to the place and it was an open area and we could see everything. We could see the whole crowd. Yeah. And I think that was probably my highlight in terms of like the crowd, the big sort of crowds.
Yeah.
But then we also had like some smaller crowd events. The Irish Gathering probably being the most noticeable. What did you guys make of that?
It was great. It was I would say it was refreshingly Irish, in terms of how the service went, and you realize actually the way it kind of just showed that like there was a great emphasis on holy water from the different kind of holy sites on the island, and actually incorporating holy water into a service hadn't really happened for the whole week, and I just thought that's just an aspect of Catholicism that we kind of really hone in on in this country, and kind of our interaction with the natural world, maybe. I don't know. And it was great also meeting. So just getting that perspective, I guess, and then just meeting all these people practicing from Ireland, to some of whom I recognised, some of whom I was meeting for the first time, and it was really nice.
Yeah, I'd say the word for me was definitely powerful, and kind of uplifting, seeing so many young people in the one church together, just praying. It was just powerful. I thought.
A beautiful church as well.
I must say.
Kind of a modern kind of. It was.
There's some stunning churches in Portugal.
Oh,
honestly.
Fantastic.
It was beautiful. And then I suppose there was the biggest event, which was the vigil.
Yes.
Which I think we both have very different experiences of it.
I think.
All three of the three of us probably have different experiences of it, but I think me and then the two of you have very different experiences.
I suppose maybe just to describe what it is like I wouldn't even say a big field, like a series of big fields.
Yeah.
With
spanning 3 kilometers.
Beside the coast.
Yes. Like actual bridges to get from one side to the other. With, as a conservative estimate, about 1 million people who all walked, bused and metroed there for firstly a vigil with Pope Francis and then mass the next morning. So
like adoration.
Yeah,
night before,
vigil, adoration, and then sleep on sleeping bags, a tent if you're lucky, and then wake up the next morning at sunrise for mass with the other 1 million people.
Firstly, a priest DJ.
Yeah.
I slept through it.
It was unbelievable. It was, yeah. So basically, these, when we woke up after the like visual adoration, there was these sirens that went off. We thought they were like bomb sirens or something. We thought we were going to have to leave the field. It was like they played a prank on us.
Yeah, it was a very mean alarm at 6:30 for 1 million people, million and a half people.
6:30,
nuts. And the thing is, they didn't stop the music until about 12.
Easily one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did have different experiences, I think. Did we?
Because you guys were in a completely different section to where we were. We were sleeping. The motorway that you walked over to get to the vigil site, we were sleeping underneath that.
Wow.
Yes,
so we were sleeping underneath the overpass. So we got there at about 2:00 in the afternoon, and so people were still like arriving as the day went on, and people were just like looking down, like throwing stuff off, kind of like yeah. So it was surreal. But what was it like, kind of sleeping in the field? Because it started, obviously the night started off ridiculously warm, and so we were all just there, like there was about 10 of us lads, and we set out our sleeping bags, and we kind of just slept on it thinking, this is gonna be fine, and we were just in our shirts and stuff, and it was ridiculously warm. But then it was like 3 or 4 o'clock, and because we were beside the coast,
it gets cold.
it was freezing. It was
when
so
the sun
cold.
goes out of the sky, it just
what was it like?
I think it was what was very tough actually was probably the afternoon when we got there first. So that was really, really hot.
Really hot, yeah.
And there was a lot of people I was looking around in the group. I was like, oh my God, we could have 1 or 2 guys heat stroke here nearly. Because you have no cover. Like you had the shade, I think, from the motorway. Which is bizarre to say, but I think I was somewhat prepared for it being cold in the night. But I got probably just as much sleep as I did for the rest of the week sleeping in the school. So
I think we were just so wrecked by that evening. Like I was out like a light, honestly, and I don't even think I woke up once. It was just gone to sleep.
Fair enough.
The only thing is, we woke up with a bit of dew on our sleeping bags from being so close to the coast.
It's bizarre. You're kind of what's this like?
Dampness.
This damp feeling. Like it didn't rain, and when you said it was dew, I kind of thought, oh my God. Yeah,
because we were literally about 5-10 meters from.
Because you guys were obviously sleeping on sand as well.
It was kind of grassy.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. More lucky, I think. Like, by the end, it was quite nearly sand.
Yeah.
At the start, there was a bit of grass there anyway.
But one of the highlights, was as much as it was annoying being woken up at 6:30, seeing the sunrise, because we were on a plot. We were on a corner plot, so we were on the very corner of a corner plot. So all there was the path, and then the beach, which was close to us, and then just the sea, the horizon. And so you saw the red sun rising at about kind of 20 to 7, which was just really, really nice. Yeah, it's really
beautiful.
special. Yeah,
I think a lot of people said it as well, but this is probably my highlight of the vigil. It was kind of waking up in the middle, well, not waking up, being awake in the middle of the night, just because I wasn't able to sleep, but being awake at like 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was like pin drop silence. Pin drop silence. Like 2 million people in one place sleeping, and not a sound out of anyone. Like it was so peaceful. And like it just shows like we can do this as a church. The church, like it was just such a reassuring experience. I think for everyone. Class, what was pick out one highlight out of the week that
That's
You think-
difficult.
Oh, very
That is
tough.
difficult.
Do you wanna try this one first?
Yeah, no, I'd have to say definitely the talks that I went
Okay,
to. They were
okay.
brilliant. Like, I would have got to many more if I could.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I thought they were brilliant. Like, and they were, really reassuring. I was kind of talking about the interfaith
Oh yeah.
conference I was at, and yeah, I thought that was brilliant. You're speaking to, again, like-minded people with similar problems, and it was it's just
Yeah.
brilliant.
I think for me, I really, really enjoyed the Stations of the Cross. I thought Stations of the Cross were, I thought as a one experience, I just found it very powerful, for whatever reason. But I think the one thing I did take away from the week was that I think maybe for the week I was waiting around for some big special moment to happen and my faith be transformed. But what I actually did learn is that, maybe the development of one's faith, or maybe mine in particular, maybe, others have different experiences. You can't rely on one massive moment to happen in the sense, in a kind of some sort of spiritual awakening or something. So for me was kind of, I wouldn't say there was one particular highlight for me, but it was just the
Journey.
the journey. Yeah, God, it's as cringy as it might sound, it was actually the journey through the week, the people you talked to and the conversations you had. And I think I'm still debriefing it, processing it in my head, but listen, if I did have to pick one, it would be the Stations of the Cross in Park Eduardo with however many thousand other people and Pope Francis. Yeah.
Unreal.
What about yourself? Put you on the spot now.
Yeah,
Let's flip the script.
We were joking about you being a co-host now. The highlight for me, I would probably say the Irish Gathering.
Really?
Yeah, because I love the big gatherings and stuff. I thought at times it could be really overwhelming.
Yeah.
But I did really enjoy those as well. The Irish Gathering, probably because I met people there that I hadn't seen in like 5-6 years. It was like a big reunion.
Yeah.
Everyone together in a different country. It was.
Yeah.
I think that was my highlight. Not only because of the Irish Gathering, but we all stayed and we all like hung out after as well.
Yeah.
We had a great night.
We had a
as well.
great, we had a great night in a really nice pizzeria just behind it.
Yeah. No, so I would say,
We met up with some people from the Cork Diocese.
the Cork Diocese. Shout out Cork. No, the Irish Gathering would have been my
Fantastic,
highlight.
yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Final question. What do you guys think changes now from Word Youth Day? Like personally, what do you guys think that it's sort of opened? Has it opened any pathways for you guys in terms of like your prayer? What opportunities do you see arising from this trip?
I'd say for me, definitely like involvement. I found like getting involved in things is so good. Like, you were introducing me to kind of the people in the Catholic Society in DCU, and like definitely get involved in something like that, kind of keep these community ties going.
Shout out.
I was giving a lot of shout outs. But yeah, no, like get involved in things like this, because there's so many just great people, but you just have to seek them out. That was my takeaway from it, and kind of get involved in these communities. That was definitely my takeaway anyway.
Yeah.
I think definitely my takeaway, and it's slightly ironic that the slogan for the week was "Mary arose and went with haste," because I think my takeaway was really patience, and having patience in my faith and in my prayer and in my life in general, because I think we were challenged a lot in the week, both spiritually, physically probably, and waiting on metros and having massive queues of people trying to get into places. And the one thing I learned was just to have patience and to slow down and to trust that everything will work out for me. So I suppose it's maybe a more personal takeaway, but it's really to have patience, and because trusting God, really, like, if you really have trust in God, you will be patient that his plan will work and that he will work for you in time. So I think really among the chaos of it all, they're trying to figure things out, and wanting to go to a talk or wanting to see someone or wanting to get a good place in the park, like just slowing down and having patience and trust, I think, was a massive takeaway for me, and something I really hope to take into my my life going forward.
It's funny, like Owen took do less.
Yeah,
I took do more.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's that kind of experience, and
Yeah,
everyone
sure.
has
Yeah.
you know a different experience.
Sure.
100%. Yeah. That's really beautiful. That's really good. Well, we're coming towards the end of the show. It's been an absolute pleasure. Not only having you guys on the show, but actually like getting to know you guys over the past week. It's been amazing.
Sure, we only met you last week.
That's behind the curtain.
Yeah.
There you go. They come up to me and they heard that I had a show and they were like, "Can we come on?"
No, it was actually Dion dragging
No.
us on. Dion heard it all.
No, it's
Great.
an absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
Thanks very much.
you.
Ian.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for being on. And for our listeners here at Radio Maria, if you want to get in contact with us, if you guys have any questions for either myself or for Owen or for Mark, you can call us at 01123456. You can text or WhatsApp us at 089 467 2000. You can also email us at info@radiomaria.ie. And you can also write to us at Radio Maria Ireland, St Anthony's Business Park, Ballymount Road, Dublin 22. It's been a pleasure, lads. Thank you so much. And for our listeners, we will be back here same time next Saturday, 2 p.m. with some new guests. We might have two, who knows.
Right.
Mystery guest.
Mystery guest.